I am done apologizing. I am done being persecuted for my strength. You people should be thanking Christ that I am who and what I am because you need me. You need me to save you. You do. I am the only one who possibly can. You're not the real heroes. I'm the real hero.
What is going on, everybody? Hope you're having a good week so far. So I've been playing the ROG Ally for about 2 weeks, and there have been features that I really love in the device, but admittedly, there are some features that I would like to be added to the overall experience of the ROG Ally. So today I'm going to talk about 10 features I think the ROG Ally needs to make the overall experience better and maybe almost as fluid as the Steam Deck. Now, I own both the ROG Ally and the Steam Deck, and in the last couple weeks, I've done so many tests on both of them. So the fluidity of both devices have stood out to me. I like how the ROG Ally can play anything I throw at it and can support any third-party game. I love how the Steam Deck feels like a console experience with its menus and plugins. Everything on the Steam Deck feels natural. Opposed to the ROG Ally, you need to tinker with a lot of things. Sometimes even installing games can require some tinkering, but it is almost guaranteed to work. And sometimes two things are going to be on this list, just in case that feature is already there and I just missed it for some reason. Because the Ally has so many awesome features already, but there's always room for improvement. So this isn't a classic, the ROG Ally is a mistake video. It's just something to provide Asus with a better idea of what they can improve in the future. First, and probably the most important thing on the list, I want the sleep and resume function to be as customized and smooth as the Steam Deck's. Putting the ROG Ally to sleep sometimes requires a little more effort than some may want. Sometimes the ROG Ally doesn't go to sleep, it just keeps looking at you with its screen after you press the power button or press sleep mode. So you have to press the power button again and again and again. So I do want the sleep and resume function to be a little more smooth. But if you do want to put the ROG Ally to sleep when it has very low battery and you want to save your progress, the sleep function saves a ton of battery, as you saw in my previous tests. It automatically goes into hibernation mode, which saves your progress for anything you were doing. But I just want the sleep and resume function to be more instantaneous. And the second thing would be support for resolutions other than 720p and 1080p. Having the ability to go to 900p with the Steam Deck in most games would help performance greatly. So if I could go to 900p on the ROG Ally, that would help me so much. But for some reason, the Ally just goes to these odd resolutions, which gives it borders either on the top or the sides, and kind of crushes the image a little bit so it looks awkward. It would be great to get 900p, which is natively supported on a 16:9 screen. Another feature, which I'm not exactly sure is missing on the ROG Ally, is a proper bug report page on Armory Crate itself, like the Steam Deck has, so Asus knows exactly what every individual Ally owner is going through with their units, or an easier way to notify Asus of issues on your Ally. Now, they are aware of the SD card issue, which the Steam Deck had as well, and even the Nintendo Switch had. But I feel like people needed to go onto their actual website to let them know. I wish there was a page inside of the actual ROG Ally, if it isn't there, to properly let Asus know about these issues that we're having, if people are having issues, just so they can have an actual record and reports of any known issues. And routinely making a video about technical issues isn't always going to work. And the next thing would be a more frequent and reliable update system. Something that updates everything all at once that Asus has tested and knows works properly. And I'm not saying I want an update every day, maybe twice or 3 times a week, just to make sure Armory Crate is working properly with Windows for all users. So I would like some kind of an interface that can not only update Armory Crate, but can update Windows and its features that support ROG Ally as well. Just something a little more streamlined to help the simpler PC users know exactly which updates would be best for their ROG Ally. Now, I know Armory Crate is only meant for the internal controller on the Ally, but I would love an option to customize external controllers, layouts, and not just their official ROG controller. It would be nice to be able to pull up Armory Crate while docked with a specific key or button on my controller, like the Xbox button. If there was just an option to map an external controller so I can do everything docked that I can do handheld, that would be a great feature to add to make the docking experience a little more smooth and somewhat akin into the Steam Decks. And I know Armory Crate is sort of like a gaming mode overlay on top of everything, but it would be nice to have a true gaming focused mode, because when Armory Crate apparently launches a game, other processes take a back seat. But if there was a way to make Windows only leave necessary applications active while playing a demanding game, if there was some kind of feature that made Windows focus on one specific application more by default, if there was a way that we can switch the modes like we do with Performance, Turbo, and Silent, where we could have a sort of power saver or gaming mode in the Ally, that would be greatly appreciated, because Windows does have a lot of processes going on in the background that do consume a lot of battery. So having a more focused application mode or gaming focused mode or any kind of focus mode, just like Alienware has, would be awesome. And adding to that point, or adding a new point, depending where we are, I would love a way to see how much battery time is left in Armory Crate itself without having to hover over the battery icon in Windows like the Steam Deck has, and a more efficient and detailed real-time monitor that shows you all of the core's activities and temperatures. It would be great to have a more detailed real-time monitor that tells you more than the battery life, but hopefully the time that's left in the battery, so I can gauge how long a game's going to play for, and so I can tweak a title accordingly, and so I can actually do some proper tests on each game to make an ROG power saver guide, possibly one day, without having to spend 1 to 3 hours on each title in every test. But yeah, a gaming focused mode would help greatly with a power saver test on the ROG Ally. So I'm looking at you, Asus. Hopefully you add these features so it can be easier for people to gauge how long and which game would be best for what scenario and time. And having an easier way to make shortcuts in Armory Crate would be greatly appreciated, because right now, while adding a game, it lets you explore the folders. But for some reason, every time I click an icon, most of the time, that shortcut I clicked isn't supported to be added on the main Armory Crate page. And I'm assuming it's because when you launch an application on Armory Crate, it pretty much focuses on that one application. So there is slight optimization and certain types of files that it accepts. But it would be great to add more types of shortcuts and applications to Armory Crate. Having everything on the screen can be a bit much, especially for a handheld PC, with multiple windows opened and applications on the side in split mode or divided into 4. That's just too much to view on a handheld device. So if I could add shortcuts easier to Armory Crate, it would enable me to just mainly operate in that mode. And last, and probably the most convoluted to fix, making docked mode and Armory Crate easier to navigate and work with. Now to elaborate, I want to be able to use Armory Crate and only Armory Crate if I want to. I want to be able to do everything, if not most, of what I can do on Windows in Armory Crate as well. I get it's a gaming interface and keeping them technically separate is better, but I always have to minimize Armory Crate to adjust external devices and different controllers and just third-party apps in general. If I can operate all of those controllers in Armory Crate as well as the third-party apps, then things wouldn't be as complicated, and I would probably be able to save more battery if Asus can somehow make opening straight into Armory Crate a practical option that makes people not even think about big picture mode on Steam somehow. Then that would be truly impressive. Usually when starting up the Ally, when Armory Crate opens, I would just need to close it to access more important applications. So if somehow I can access my Steam library and see which games I want installed, and I could just access every folder from Armory Crate, if Asus can streamline all of the Windows functions to work on Armory Crate, that would make Armory Crate a lot different and more accessible to casual users. But that's all I wanted Asus to fix. Besides those asks, I think the ROG Ally is a worthy potential successor to the Steam Deck. There have been a lot of issues here and there that people have been reporting, but everybody needs to understand this handheld PC is global and it's first generation. So there will be a lot of issues like there are with laptops, and most laptops and gaming PCs manufacturers are having issues readjusting to the resurgence of chip availability. But honestly, a lot of the stuff I added to this list, I kind of had to pull out of my butt because I've been having a relatively smooth time with the ROG Ally. There's really nothing I would like to change. Armory Crate is simple enough to the point I can go to it and not worry about anything else, but I would enjoy it if it was smoothed out a little bit, and if some Windows features could be streamlined to it, to say external controllers, if that feature isn't available yet. I haven't tested out every type of angle of Armory Crate yet, so if you can mess with external controllers in Armory Crate, let me know. But all in all, even though people are worrying about the support from Asus and if it's eventually going to stop, I think it's going to be okay. If not, there's nothing that can't be fixed. Even if for some reason Asus misses some core features that need to be fixed down the road and they don't do it in a timely manner, I think there are a lot of people in the community that have what it takes to fix it themselves, like with the Linux community. And let's just hope Asus listens like they are currently doing. Hopefully, if we give it time, the ROG Ally will be successful and popular like the Steam Deck is, if it isn't already, because there's so much potential there for the Ally to become even more successful and powerful. And I can't wait to see how that pans out and how they plan on fixing these issues. But yeah, that's been my list of features that Asus can add to the ROG Ally. If you have any suggestions or features that you want to see added to the device, let me know in the comments. And if you have any general questions at all, I'll take them too. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a good one. Later.